Yo, so what's good, y'all? It's me, Sam here today, and today I'm gonna be discussing about some. I had a discussion with this one idiot about Islam. Islam is my main religion. Assalamualaikum to all the Muslims out there, my brothers. Basically, I had a discussion about theology. He was claiming Muhammad and all that was a pedo, and my religion was a pedophilia philosophy. So I discussed with him to the fact that he also went into DMs to try and debate me. So here's the problem which where it just really gets started. The fact is that he actually blocked me after having getting ready to date the discussion. So basically, like I called him retarded a few times because he kept insulting and saying false things, which I already debunked. His own definitions he literally sent agreed with mine, so it was pretty funny as fuck to see him just struggle at the same time, yet not knowing he is literally getting slammed. So when I'm like seeing this, I'm just questioning like if this guy is generally like mentally disabilities up on all that. Like that's not really all the things I'm really gonna take into consideration. But here, basically the main purpose why I'm making this video is because I'm ready to expose him out here because he keeps saying shit about Islam. So he appealed to the Guardian as a source. I asked him to justify why it would be a source that is valid for justification to appeal to. What he was claiming was that he was basically saying that it was made up by multiple government entities, which is not true at all. The Guardian is a source that is heavily biased against Islam, and it's owned by British British people in the nation of the United Kingdom. So it's not necessarily a multiple government entity formed based off that data. It's just basically going off basically from that source of just purpose of data, which is biased against Islam, by the way. But basically, he's also saying Muhammad isn't a pedo, but is a pedo at the same time, when which we put into play in a classical logic scenario when taken up on a theological debate. Basically, falls under dialetheism, saying he isn't and is. That's gonna be a true contradiction, which isn't gonna necessarily mean like that he is. So like, it's basically just debunked by being contradictory through his own statements. He basically just pulled an illogical move there, which proves it isn't necessarily a necessary truth or truth at all. It's just basically a contradictory statement. But going away from that, the main purpose of making this already discussed about the Islam type thing, but another thing I wanted to discuss was the fact of how this idiot came into my DMs and started parading me with all this stuff about the Guardian. I already debunked. He asked me for a definition of debunk, so I gave him the definition. Basically, the whole scenario was that he basically kept talking crap and all that, so I just called him retard a few times because he kept fucking saying that wordy was like a fucking synonym for annoying, which is not even the case. Like he kept questioning if I knew English, but then after this, he fucking ended up blocking me, which is like crazy. So I'm just making this video out here to like let people know that people who insult Islam are like only like fucking mad because they can't really prove anything. Well, once people get put into question, they don't really prove anything about Muhammad. The main arguments defend Muhammad, yes, but they also just defend Islam because he also went on a presupposition saying that Islam was basically mass control during the time. And I asked him for intrinsic evidence. This wasn't intrinsic evidence, it was just data created by a heavily biased article. So, going off that, we could basically go up on a situated scene, which basically just suggests that he's basically a moron for using that, and more so that the factor is that he's just basically not able to prove any of his arguments. He's just going on saying things that don't even fucking matter to the conversation. And he wants me to try and disprove how Islam isn't a pedophile thing when I asked him for justification of why his source would be valid. He didn't give any real justification for that, so I don't know why it would be my burden to go based upon his own source appealing to that. So I asked him to justify. He still won't justify. When we go on rational observation about this topic about Islam, there is no real like historical evidence about Muhammad's association to a 9-year-old or having sexual intercourse. Like at the same time, but there is no evidence that's like well, proven that, but at the same time, there's no evidence still proving like he was a pedo. So we could just sit there and say that most of these claims need to be proven by intrinsic evidence because, or actually empirical as well, because we could go off empirical type stuff, which would basically fundamentally give explanation and evidence and justification behind the very thing of Islam being pedophilia, but it isn't because he isn't able to get that, and he practically sucks. Islam is basically practically a religion people try to hate on because they don't like it. Well, let me tell you something. For people who are biased against Islam and try to use the Guardian as a basically proven, validated source, I'm gonna open up a challenge, just like so we could just debate up on Islam versus any topic you want on that subject of theology. So anyone who wants to debate that, we can go ahead and run something. So yeah, peace. Moving to another point though, after I said bye, is basically that he was trying to say that basically because like his definition of a debunk was that it's basically a hoax or a story proven to be false. Well, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, it would be debunked because it's fucking proven. The negative against the fucking positive stance is literally proven to be true versus the positive stance. So it's already objectively obtained via that evidence and empirical provided evidence, along with the intrinsic, is already proven to be false for the positive stance. So the negation would already be true to that. So I don't know if you're fucking retarded upon that point. You're basically saying that if it's proven to be false, because if it's proven, it's literally just the claim is you start a claim is true. Like I don't know if you don't understand basic stances, my guy, but like I never met somebody who's that retarded basically try and discuss with me. But that's not all really getting into this. Basically what I'm trying to suggest is the point that this dude was trying to make some up saying I lost the fucking debate. Like what the fuck? You literally blocked me, dude. Like you blocked me on Discord. I want you to come debate me and not try and duck. It's literally an impossible difficulty for you. I don't know how. And still, I want you to justify why the Guardian would basically be a valid source to appeal to for Islam, despite being a British-owned company and heavily biased against it. So I want you to like prove and provide evidence for that or justification from a rational observation of the Guardian. There has to be justification and rational motivation to appeal to something, logically speaking. And then he sits there and says, I've been applying power scaling terms to theology debates when debunking is not a power scaling term. It's literally used in dialectics, dialectics ranging from formal to informal or critical discussions, which exist as a form of dialectic within fucking debate. I don't know how you're gonna sit there and say I'm trying to act like a fucking pseudo fraud intelligent person, but like that's literally the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. When trying to apply these type things and you're saying that somehow debunk is gonna be like a story or thing that's proven to be false, like a myth. Also, a myth is a story, and that's an example given, not exactly a fucking true thing of being debunked. Because debunked, by your own definitions, is basically used to refute or prove something false, such as your example upon the fucking thing of a hoax. It's proven to be false, which disproves the argument that it is true. So I don't know what your point was. Yeah. And again, going on from your earlier statements, saying like it's a 50-50 question, that would just be a true contradiction under dialetheism, and we could just apply equal interpretation to that. But I'm not really in any way agreeing that Muhammad is a pedo. You didn't provide any intrinsic evidence besides the Guardian, which isn't really even justified from your standpoint. You're just claiming something without giving truth to it. So I want you to justify it and how this could be proclaimed to be actual evidence on Islam, like you fucking claim. Instead of fucking saying that Islam is a pedo religion, how about you come debate me on the subject inside of VC? I main VC and I do text, but I usually main VC because it's better than text. You also said I can't handle VC intellectually, which is just fucking retarded, by the way. So if you're gonna claim something, how about you back it up? How about you just come debate me on it? Like, it's not that hard, bro. You duck shit so hard that you blocked me from calling you a retard. You are sensitive, by the way. If you can't handle a fucking discussion of intellectual properties, then you are really not about that. You were not intellectual at all. You're just a sensitive snowflake who has a fragile ego because I beat the shit out of you in a fucking discussion. So how about you come and debate? And for all the people who's been supporting me, by the way, with the subscribers, I really appreciate it. Because I just look back and I got like 52 subscribers. Great. Anyways, bye guys. Oh yeah, before I go, here's the screenshots.